and I'm extremely sensitive to everything. Nothing's worked. When I talk about the out of body feelings, the doctors, they look at what they've given me and they've really run out of ideas. There's a couple more medications I can try for the paranoia, but my insurance doesn't cover it. So, you know, got a little setback right there. But right now, I'm only taking one medication for anger. Oh, yeah, that's the other one I forgot to mention. The most important one that gets me in trouble a lot is my anger. I can flip out within a second on somebody over the stupidest things, which is crazy. I mean, New Year's, I flipped out on my neighbor just because he got firecrackers all over my driveway. I was ready to attack the guy.
How long have you been experiencing those symptoms?
Since 2007. Yeah, it's gradually just gotten worse.
It's just progressively just getting worse as it goes.
Keeps getting worse. So, the new medication I'm on, the new Dexta, I've noticed it's brought the fight or flight down a little bit, which is nice. I just don't know to that next level. If someone says something stupid to me out in public, how I'm going to react right now. So that's the scary part about this.
It is. And you have to, obviously you probably have to be with your wife often, make sure that nothing happens.
Yeah.
And that's obviously it's hugely important. And that's another thing that people don't realize is how it affects the loved ones of the people that are affected by the condition or the issue, that have the symptoms, because they're the ones that have to deal with us.
Yeah, that's why at nighttime when I feel my symptoms get bad, I get into bed. So that's
just go to bed.
To do, get away from the family, because if I get myself overloaded, I'm gonna get agitated, and so.
So Tommy, after watching the movie, did you watch it alone, or who'd you watch it with?
Watched it alone.
You did, okay. Mm-hmm. It was. Chris, you've seen the movie, correct?
I've seen it probably a dozen times. I can watch it every day. So.
See, I can't. I could barely get through the first viewing of it. Because I had seen it after I had started experiencing issues, because of it. So, but after doing all the research, prior to just with the symptoms, similar to what you had, trying to do some research and finding out what the cause was, a lot of it was driven right back to a result of the repetitive head trauma. So.
And did you say you have paranoia, or?
You know what? No.
Not yet. Hopefully you don't get it.
I was going to say, hopefully I don't. Hopefully that's not one of the symptoms that I.
It's horrible.
I could only imagine. I can't fathom.
Yeah, I walk out my front door. I think my neighbors are watching me. I walk down the street. I'm always turning around, seeing if someone's following me. We're driving the car. I think the car behind us is following us. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's difficult. It's difficult because you hear about it so much that it's hard to stay away from. It's difficult not to because it's always in front of you in some way, shape, or form. You turn on the news, and whether it's a wide receiver or quarterback, that's out under the concussion protocol. It's just like how many. I got a close friend that works for NFL team for the last 34 years. That agents now, if you've had 2 or more concussions, you won't even get representation. You won't get an agent. You're a liability to the league. Black vault. So
do you recognize, you both kind of know what you might have. Can you recognize that in the heat and just kind of shut it down? I know, Chris, you said you go to bed when it starts getting too much. I mean, like if you're in an argument, I mean, can you recognize this now that you know what you've kind of been diagnosed with and stop it, or no?
What do you mean by that? Like,
Well, you just kind of like you're yelling at your neighbor, and you might think, you know what, I'm going a little bit crazy here. I know why. Someone to stop. Turn around, go in the house. When I'm watching Concussion, some of the guys grabbing his wife. I mean, they're getting kind of violent and stuff. And I'm thinking, how can you shut that down at all?
oh, well, right there. I mean, in that situation, luckily the neighbor didn't come at me because it would have been all over right there. It just literally would have been all over. The guy asked me to get off of his property and I did. And, that was it. But if he would have pushed me or gotten more in my face, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Wow.
That's how severe this stuff is. It's crazy.
So, Danny, you said you rely on your smartphone a lot. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Everything that I do and have is on my phone. Literally everything. So my whole life is on my calendar. And if it's not in my calendar, unfortunately it gets missed or forgotten. So it's and I saw Warren Sapp, the defensive tackle end that played for the Buccaneers forever.
Right.
I saw him in an interview just a couple years ago saying the identical damn same thing. And imagine a guy like that played at Miami at that high level and then Tampa Bay at that high level for that long period of time. Imagine what that scrambled egg looks like.
Well, how do you explain somebody like Dick Butkus? Because it seems like he's all there, and when I watch him tackle, it seemed like he tackled more with his shoulders and his body.
It was different back then because the helmets were, just after the leather helmets that were created with first plastic shells, and they actually hurt more to use the helmet, because the first helmet I had in '83 was a Kelly of plastic. It literally had 3 leather straps and a chin strap, and that was the extent of your helmet and a face mask. So you didn't use your head because you knew that thing wasn't protecting you. So you used your shoulder, you used your chest, and you used your arms. There was a lot of arm tackling, a lot of shoulder tackling. It wasn't until probably late 80, I don't know, mid 80s, early 80s, where, the huge, big hits, you figure the Fridge was 85 was one of maybe 2 or 3 guys in the entire league that were 300 pounds. Now, he probably wouldn't even be playing in the league now.
Wow.
You take it the size, the speed of these guys, along with the impact that they generate. And now these guys are using their bodies as weapons, as missiles. As opposed to just trying to tackle somebody or wrap them up. And and like Chris said, the helmet isn't going to fix the problem at all. That's not the answer. It's unfortunate.
Well, I've heard the NFL kind of recognizing CT a little bit more now, but does the NHL do that? If they recognize,
they're still in denial. They really are. I mean, I still watch some games, and I've seen some improvements with the concussion protocol this year. I've noticed, but I mean, for the most part, they're denying it.
For the money, follow the dollar. Wow.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
That's just unbelievable. You guys, are there any good books out there to read from any of you two? Like, kind of highlights this a little bit more. I mean, has anybody read any good books on CTE?
Ben and Amalu was the one that found it in Mike Webster. He was the one that did the autopsy on Mike Webster, and then Dr. Ann McKee out of University of Boston, Dr. Robert Cantu out of University of Boston, Chris Nowinski to Concussion Legacy Foundation are probably some of the top resources in the country. Dr. Mickey Collins in Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. I go see him twice a year, and he's the top actual concussion specialist in the country. And but he's primarily you go to his place and it looks like the Hall of Fame of soccer, football, basketball, NHL, NFL, baseball, every single major sport. Anybody's had a concussion, they go to Dr. Mickey Collins, and he's got a picture with them, jerseys signed. He's the best, but he deals primarily with people that just had concussions, not people that haven't had a concussion within 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's depending on when you have the concussion, how long you've had it, the duration of the symptoms, duration of the actual some people recover quicker than other people. Some people get one concussion and it changes their life. Or one hit in the head and it changes their life forever. They're never the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get other people that have boxed for 20 years and you'd never know that.
Yeah, that's what, I kind of have a problem with that too. Like I think about like maybe, Nate Diaz from the MMA. He seems a little punch drunk. Some of these MMA fighters, but then the other ones are, real sharp on top of it. Same with football players, hockey players, soccer, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Who does it affect? That kind of a thing.
And it also affects people at different ages too. Some sooner than others.
And it could that next hit that finishes them off. I mean, for me, I played for 28 years, never had a problem until 2007, and that was it.
So the last one, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that I look back, I could see there was definitely some stuff going on in high school, and I did notice it then, but now I'm, there's some red flags going off in my head. But I mean, for the most part, it wasn't until 28 years later,
No. So talk about that last hit. What happened? Were you playing hockey and got hit? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in an adult league, no checking. I hit one guy head on head. Hit the ground. Had instant pain in the back of my head, the middle of my spine. Saw stars. Got up and kept playing the game. Then a couple days later, same different scenario. I hit my own player shoulder on shoulder. Same head pain, same back pain, and the stars. And at that time, I felt a little bit different, like something wasn't right. So.
Are you talking about shoulder to shoulder hitting and seeing
shoulder
stars?
to shoulder? Yep.
I mean, that's kind of sounds a little bit disturbing, I guess, for lack of a better word. So after that, did you go to a doctor? Did you talk to?
I went to the emergency. Yep.
Uh-huh.
It said I had a concussion, and then basically from there, it took me about 2 years to even prove that I had brain damage. I went to doctors all over the place.
Uh-huh.
They kept telling me I have post-concussion syndrome, and there's no other test for me. It took me a long time to finally prove it.
So, because I maybe I'm wrong on understanding this, but I thought they really can't tell the effects of CTE or possible CTE till after you pass on. Well, it sounds like there's testing going on. Is that true?
No, that's the only way they can definitively tell whether you've had CTE or not is postmortem. Is once they do the autopsy. They're receiving more and more grant money every single year and doing more and more research every single year on more and more athletes. They're getting more brains every single year from military, from sports, from the general population. So there's more and more research done on the actual living now than ever done before, trying to find those markers that they can actually predict, whether or not the person has CTE. But my follow-up question to that is, all right, then what do you do to treat that condition, once you know that you actually have CTE, what's the cure for it? Or is it just the fact that you know that you have this disease? And
What's the answer to that? I mean, is there a cure, or is something you just maintain every day? I mean, what is the answer to that? I mean, is it medication? Is it meditation?
it's
Basically, yeah, you're just trying to
Family?
treat your symptoms. I mean,
that's it.
they can come up with a test for CTE right now and say you have CTE, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to fight, treat your symptoms.
Sure. So do
And
you forget me? Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, well, what I was going to say is a couple of years ago, I took part in a clinical trial here in Florida for tau in the blood, and they found high levels of tau in my blood. And I brought those levels to my neurologist, and being in a clinical trial, he didn't even know what those levels meant.
Wow.
Seriously.
So
Now,
all
from
I
that-
know is I have higher levels than a normal, than you normally should, but I don't know what that means.
Wow. Wow. And that can affect other parts of your brain too. Is that correct? The difference.
It does. Yeah. It affects.
Spreads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of trickle down effect from it, but there's also so much unknown that it's difficult to be able to pinpoint exactly, when it starts, how it starts, when you start recognizing the symptoms. If you ever recognize the symptoms, some guys don't even believe they have a problem.
Yeah.
Don't even know they have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just other people recognize that they're not the same person that they were 5 years ago, but that same person isn't the same person they were 5 years ago. They just don't realize it.
Yeah, we got people in the group that, the wives tell us that the spouse doesn't even realize they have a problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, Tommy, you should check out the Chris's his page. Some of the information that the spouses have on, and there's even Eric.
Rose up for a sec.
He's froze.
Yeah, he froze up for a second. He'll come back. There he is.
The Biden Wi-Fi kicking in from China.
Build it back better.
Yeah, building back. Yeah, what? Building what back to one to who? Huh?
Oh man.
So no, what I was saying was that there's a huge trickle down effect to the actual condition itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the problem is that you get
It gets something.
Biden Wi-Fi again.
All right. Only in Illinois. Apparently only in Illinois though.
yeah, it's windy out. That's what my wife will say.
See, I'm in Florida. We don't have that problem.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah,
We've got plenty of wind out here.
yeah, plenty of wind out there. Wind farms.
Damn right. Damn right. Got a mountain lion in town today. We're trying to find that thing. So on the news anchor comes out and says, beware when you walk outside your house. There's a mountain lion running around town. But the weird thing is they say, look up in the tree. Because you don't think about mountain lions being in the trees. But they're saying you got to watch that. So there's films of this beautiful big mountain lion running around downtown, about 6 blocks from my house. I haven't seen it or anything like that. And it's not really uncommon. But it's just kind of cool. Montana cool,
It is.
So anyway, I digress.
Yeah, Chris just has alligators and mosquitoes down there.
Yeah, alligators, pythons, water
Pythons, yeah. Sharks.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Well, awesome. It's. I'll let you guys go, Chris. I know it's late for you, Tommy. I know you got things to do, but guys, I appreciate your time.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know me being an old station manager, if any one of you would have come around with some kind of edited or wanted to be on the air, I would have snatched that up in a heartbeat. Like if you're ever thinking about wanting some help to try to get some edits out or something like that, or, trying to get your message out. I mean, that's probably, one thing I could help with.
Let's put something together, Chris. Let's,
right.
maybe we can do something through the page,
Sounds good.
with
Hey,
the,
Chris, it
with
was
the,
really
pol-
nice
with-
meeting you too, Chris.
Yep, nice meeting you.
So good luck with everything too.
Yep, thank you.
yeah, Chris, great meeting you, bud. Appreciate it. Tommy, love you, cuz.
Have a
Love
good
you too, buddy.
All
We'll
right,
talk soon.
everybody, take care.
Bye.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.